The team named the best football club of the 20th century is Real Madrid. And even now, if we consider the race for the best football club of the 21st century, Real Madrid seems to be leading the charge for that title. They've faced difficulties and shed tears, but their royal spirit has helped them dominate the Champions League over the past 14 years. They've experienced periods of hardship, undergone transformations, and achieved success. These are the themes we will explore in today's video. You must win la décima, even if you die trying, and then undécima, said President Florentino Perez enthusiastically after winning the Champions League in the 2001-2002 season. It's understandable because in the 3 years prior, Real Madrid had won the Champions League twice, but had missed the semi-finals in the other. However, after those statements, it's likely that the esteemed president couldn't have foreseen that it would take 12 years to reach the Decima Cup that he had long dreamed of. At the beginning of the 21st century, Real Madrid beat Leverkusen at Hampden Park in Glasgow, Scotland, to claim their 9th UEFA Champions League title in the club's history. It was a match that left a lasting impression on fans, particularly due to the legendary volley by star player Zidane. Starting the new century and new decade with such an achievement, the path thereafter was far from smooth. A lengthy and troublesome process followed, with the Royal Club of Spain repeatedly stumbling in the Champions League in inexplicable ways, even though it was an era when they recruited a large number of superstars. In the season following their Champions League win, Real Madrid was knocked out in the semi-finals by Juventus, despite winning the first leg 2-1 at home, but losing the second leg 3-1. In the following season, Los Blancos' performance declined further when they were eliminated in the quarter-finals by Monaco, even though the aggregate score was 5-5, but the French team advanced due to the away goals rule. The next 6 consecutive seasons, from 2004, 2005 to 2009-2010, were a huge disappointment as the Spanish football giants repeatedly had to exit in the round of 16. Given their previous 9 titles, this losing streak was unacceptable for a club like Real Madrid. During this period, their arch-rival, Barcelona, managed to win the Champions League 3 times. This was also the first phase when Florentino Perez held the president's chair at Los Blancos. The policy of recruiting superstars began during this time. He made his debut to the fans with the acquisition of Luis Figo from Barca, implementing the Powerball strategy, which was a way to combine top global superstars with the club's promising young talents. This approach quickly proved successful with a championship right after, but the strategy soon turned into a double-edged sword. Bringing in superstars every year meant that there were always more players with huge egos at the Bernabeu, gradually causing disunity within the team. There was a stark difference between top stars like Zidane, Ronaldo, Beckham, and Owen, creating a gap between them and other players of lesser stature. Gradually, they took the field as a group of 11 stars rather than a cohesive team. The departure of Makelele also had a significant negative impact. Among all the dazzling superstars, this midfielder's role was completely overshadowed. And it wasn't until he left that people realized his true value. It was Makelele who brought balance to Real, not Zidane. As performance declined, a string of coaches came and went. Del Bosque, Carlos Queiroz, José Camacho, Mariano García Ramón, Vanderlei Luxemburgo, and Juan Ramón López were all dismissed. The period before 2010 was a particularly dark time for Real Madrid in the Champions League. After the 2001-2002 championship, Real Madrid entered a long and dark phase. Eventually, Real Madrid did find what they needed, but it wasn't by accident or because they were chosen. The journey to win the Champions League was extremely challenging and costly, involving years of hard work. They faced 3 consecutive years of semi-final exits before achieving their dream. By the time La Liga had completed 26 matches in the 2013-2014 season, Real Madrid was leading the league table with 64 points, with a significant advantage in the title race due to their relatively easier schedule compared to Barcelona or Atletico Madrid. Most thought that Real Madrid had a 70-80% chance of winning the title, but the final scenario turned out differently, with Atletico Madrid taking the title. Diego Simeone's team ended the season with 90 points, 3 points ahead of the 2 Spanish giants. Fortunately, Los Blancos continued to perform well in the Champions League. In the quarterfinals, they defeated Dortmund with a total score of 3-2 over two legs, despite leading 3-0 at the Santiago Bernabeu. After Dortmund, the next obstacle from Germany was Bayern Munich, which Real Madrid needed to overcome. However, things unfolded more easily than the fans had anticipated. At the Allianz Arena, Los Blancos demolished Bayern, winning 4-0. Sergio Ramos and Cristiano Ronaldo both scored 2 goals each, helping the Royal Club secure a total aggregate win of 5-0 over two legs. In the final, Real faced a familiar opponent, none other than the reigning La Liga champions and their neighbors, Atletico Madrid. Diego Godin put Atletico ahead 1-0 by halftime. In the remaining time, Ronaldo and his teammates tried to find an equalizing goal, but they were unable to break through Atletico's solid defense. As time reached the 90+3 minute mark, Atletico Madrid was on the verge of winning their first ever Champions League title, with only one corner kick to defend. Yet, Sergio Ramos emerged as a hero, jumping high to head the ball into Courtois' net, leveling the match at 1-1. Riding the momentum, Real Madrid entered extra time with a high spirit and scored 3 more goals to secure a 4-1 victory. Notably, Ronaldo's final goal was his 17th in the Champions League that season, a record-breaking achievement. Ultimately, Real Madrid completed their glorious La Decima with their 10th Champions League title in the club's history. Since 1992, when the UEFA Champions League changed its format and name to the Champions League, no team has won the championship 2 years in a row. This was seen as a terrifying curse that no club could break until Real Madrid achieved it. Over more than 30 years, Real Madrid not only won the title twice in a row, but also achieved it 3 times in a row. This will be an unprecedented record and proof of Real Madrid's dominance during this period. In the Champions League era, there are only 3 clubs that have won the title 3 times, and defending the championship is already challenging, let alone winning 3 times in a row. Yet one club managed to do this, the club known as the one with the champion's DNA, none other than Real Madrid. After losing to Juventus in the semi-finals of the Champions League in the 2014-2015 season, Los Blancos were determined to return stronger in the following season. During the summer 2015 transfer window, Real Madrid brought in 3 notable new players, Mateo Kovacic, Danilo, and Casemiro. In the domestic league, they competed fiercely with Barcelona until the final rounds, but had to accept the runner-up position with 1 point less. The Champions League was the last hope for Zidane's team to avoid a trophy-less season, and Real Madrid reached the final, once again facing Atletico Madrid, whom they defeated 2 years earlier. However, unlike the overwhelming result of that final, the match was now much more balanced. The score remained tied at 1-1 throughout the 120 minutes of regular time, leading to a Champions League title decided by a penalty shootout. Here, Real Madrid showed more composure and won 5-3 on penalties, lifting their 11th Champions League trophy. In the 2016-2017 season, Real Madrid convincingly defeated Barcelona to win the La Liga title with a 3-point lead over their arch-rivals. Riding high on this success, Los Blancos reached the Champions League final for the 2nd consecutive year, this time facing Juventus. Real Madrid was far superior to Juventus, winning 4-1. But more importantly, Real Madrid broke the Champions League curse by successfully defending their title, surprising the entire world. And one might ask, did anyone believe that Real Madrid could win the title 3 years in a row? This is undoubtedly an unattainable limit in the current world of pragmatic football. But then Real made the impossible possible. The journey to the 2017-2018 Champions League final for Ronaldo and his teammates was very challenging, as they had to face Paris Saint-Germain, Juventus, and Bayern Munich in the knockout rounds. There were many obstacles along the way, but in the end, they made it to the final in Kiev, with the goal of winning their 3rd consecutive title. Indeed, they achieved it with a 3-1 victory over Liverpool, though people remember more about Karius's errors. Nonetheless, it cannot be denied that Real Madrid deserved to win this season. Winning 3 consecutive titles is a record that will take a long time for another team to replicate or might never be achieved again. The success of Real Madrid during this period was closely tied to the name Cristiano Ronaldo, who can be considered the key factor in Los Blancos' 4 championships. As time went by, Ronaldo left, leaving a significant void. However, star players are temporal, only the club endures. Eventually, people realized that Real Madrid's reputation wasn't built overnight. It was a disappointing season for Real Madrid, likely the worst of the 21st century for them. They were 19 points behind Barcelona, a record gap. They lost 18 times in all competitions, the second highest number of losses in a single season, and they were eliminated from the Champions League in the round of 16. Headlines like Real Madrid's shameful loss to Ajax and Champions League shocker were everywhere. But Real Madrid fans received the news with calm because Ronaldo, Mr. Champions League, who was closely linked to a series of Los Blancos' Champions League achievements, had unexpectedly left for Juventus. Replacing a footballing icon like Ronaldo is no easy task, and seeing Barcelona struggle to replace Messi helps us understand Real's predicament. Real Madrid had lived and breathed Ronaldo for too long, but they understood that if they didn't part ways with him at that point, it would only delay the inevitable by 1 or 2 years. They could have paid Ronaldo more to maintain success, but they didn't. What they needed was for Real Madrid to live on forever, so President Peretz chose to pass up temporary success in exchange for Real Madrid's future. In the 2018-2019 season, they were eliminated in the round of 16 against Ajax, as previously mentioned, with a comprehensive loss. In the 2019-2020 season, they were defeated by Manchester City, who were in great form. At this point, the fear of the round of 16 curse began to return to the Bernabeu, but Real Madrid knew how to prove that it was just a fluke. In the 2020-2021 season, Real Madrid showed their strength by defeating Liverpool and only falling short against Chelsea, the eventual champions of that season, in the semi-finals. In the 2021-2022 season, everything reached its peak. Over 3 years, Benzema shed the image of a simple striker who just assisted Ronaldo to become the best forward in the world. At that time, both Vinicius and Rodrigo were capable of being key players, fully embracing Real's Champions League DNA. Real Madrid returned to the throne in spectacular fashion, having navigated a difficult path featuring Paris Saint-Germain, Chelsea, Manchester City, and Liverpool. Like the 2013-2014 title, Real Madrid's return to the top wasn't random, but orchestrated by President Peretz from the start. Real Madrid had left the crisis far behind and now had a solid strategy to create continuous Galacticos without spending too much money. Ahead is a bright future. Whether there's a Super League or not, Real Madrid will still be Real Madrid. Cristiano Ronaldo left Real Madrid to join Juventus. At the time, people thought it would take a long time for the Royal Club to continue dominating in the Champions League, but the reality showed that after Ronaldo's departure, Real Madrid built a stable and enduring squad that continued to achieve victories that forced everyone to reconsider their earlier predictions. Karim Benzema became the spearhead of Real Madrid's attack, and the French star performed well in this role. His pinnacle was the 2021-2022 season, where Los Blancos, led by Benzema, continuously overcame obstacles, winning comeback victories even when the odds were just 1%. Ultimately, Carlo Ancelotti's squad clinched the title that season, with Karim Benzema also receiving the Ballon d'Or. Ultimately, everyone had to acknowledge that Real Madrid carries the Champions League DNA and is the king of the competition with their 14th title. No one knows when another team will replicate this achievement, and the title count may even increase much further. This season, the Bernabeu team is once again in with a chance. The 3-3 home draw against Manchester City was seen as a disaster for Ancelotti's team because they had previously lost 0-4 at the Etihad. However, history shows that Real has a record of not losing when facing the reigning champion, and this trend continued this season. This might have been a game where Real Madrid didn't display the most dazzling football, but what they showed proved a strategic philosophy of knowing yourself and knowing your opponent, leading to victory in every battle. Real Madrid is willing to defend and knows how to adapt to defeat any opponent, and with this approach, many people are confident in their chances of winning the 15th Champions League title. History also shows that whoever wins in the Real Madrid-Man City matchup typically becomes the champion of that season. It's still too early to make predictions, but there's enough confidence in this scenario. Just reaching the semifinals brings significant benefits for Real Madrid. The most notable benefit is, of course, the prize money from UEFA. Before heading into the semi-final match against Manchester City, AS reported that Los Blancos had received $90.5 million in prize money from UEFA, the highest figure in this season. This number surely increased after Real reached the semi-finals. Statistics show that Real could earn up to $140 million if they win this season. This is excluding the revenue from image rights, which depends on the level of fame. And we all know how influential Los Blancos are. Just this alone brings Real a significant income. Comparatively, they've already made back and have a surplus after spending $133 million to sign Jude Bellingham. For Real Madrid, the process goes like this: spend money to sign players, achieve success on the field, and eventually generate revenue. It's a remarkably stable development process. If this momentum continues, it will be a guarantee for future success. The Madrid empire isn't built on strict logic. It's created by the spirit of the people living in that empire, and this seemingly mystical aspect helps Real Madrid establish its unique value system, standing apart from changing trends while still achieving success year after year. They came, they saw, they conquered. That's Real Madrid. And now, this is the end of the video. See you again soon, where Real Madrid might return with another spectacular victory.